Hi, my name is Faviola Hernandez, and I decided to do my research study project on how men and women see things differently. I'd just like to start off by showing you these. This is the female symbol, and this is the male symbol. And this kind of connects to my project because, as we're brought up, society and both our parents have taught us that men and women are very different. Aside from having very different genitalia, studies have shown that both sexes process information and view information differently. For my experiment, I gathered up friends, 4 males and 4 females, ages 19 through 22, to test the theory of whether men and women really do process visual information differently. I did some further research, and I actually found out that these differences are rooted back into the days of hunters and gatherers, when men were the hunters and their eyes are more adjusted to view quick objects better than women, where women are, I guess you could say, we are manufactured in a way to observe color a lot better and things up close a lot better. So for my project, the scientific method actually played a really big role in my project. It's important to use the steps of the scientific method for, one, creating a hypothesis and testing it to see whether it's going to be right or wrong. And then you also want to collect data and information that you can test your hypothesis with and see if it's right or wrong. And then towards the end, you want to go ahead and make a conclusion and either modify or say that your hypothesis was correct. So for the beginning part of my experimental procedure, I began by showing different note cards to my friends, and I kept in mind the whole hunter and gatherer studies that I found out about, because I learned that if you move cards quite quickly, men have a better way of viewing those cards compared to women because they see things better up close. So for the first test that I ran, it's going to be test 1, and they actually saw different shapes and colors of the shapes, and I'd hold it out to them, and sometimes I'd just pass it around and let them hold it for about 10 seconds, and I'd ask them in separate rooms what colors they saw on the shape of the triangle. That one's kind of basic, but what you're really focusing on is the color, and if they process the color the same way. And then what I did was I grabbed these note cards with different objects on them. For this one, it's a telephone, it's the color purple. For this one, it's a camera, it's color black. And for this one, it's a flower. Now, my hypothesis goes back to noting that I think men will struggle more by identifying the color orange and red. But when it comes to the color black, I felt that everyone would be able to identify that the same way, and everybody would see the color the same way. And that's actually how it ended up working out. But anyways, I'd actually hold the note card and I'd move it around quite quickly, maybe like run around the room a little bit, and then ask them questions to see if they processed that information correctly. And lastly, for my last test, they were just basic note cards with colors shaded on them. A lot of the times the men had trouble seeing pink from red. They'd get the two colors mixed up, and actually also orange. Orange was a little more red to them. And these colors are pretty vibrant, so they don't look the same. Also, blue was confused with purple and green a lot of the times. But anyways, aside from the experiment, my conclusion, I realized that in order to evaluate and identify the differences between males and females and how they process information, you have to include different objects, shapes, and colors while testing them. And then I also used, like I said, the information about the hunters and gatherers that I found out about. So yeah, I hope this video made you a little more interested in the differences between males and females and how we process information differently. And maybe it's caught your attention to make you want to make your own experiments and find out other differences as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Have a great day.